I think we're about to kick the show off. Yes, hi. Welcome everybody to the July edition of Crafty Crows of this year 2026. I am Chloe and I will be hosting today. We've got a brilliant lineup of open micers and our headliner is Lucy Heuschen. Um, it should be a brilliant night. We are here rather than watching the football because we have incredible taste. Um, so I'm gonna kick off with a bit of housekeeping. First of all, because we are online and our mics pick up every little sound, if you could please mute yourself for the poets, that would be brilliant. But feel free to unmute and clap and whoop and cheer in between. Um, as you will probably have heard and seen, this event is being recorded, so please only share poems that you're happy to class as being published, because in these modern times, a video recorded poem is now published. For the open micers, please stick to your 3-minute slot. We have a chat, people are already active in there, so feel free to share your bios, your books, your events, feedback on people's poems. That would be great. And then finally, the Gloucestershire Poetry Society is a volunteer-led society, so please spare a donation if you can, or consider joining with a society membership, which comes with some benefits, which I'm sure that you can find out more about on the website. I'm sure Jason will share the link at some point in the chat so everybody can refer to it. I am going to kick off with a poem from my book, Take It by the Line, which is published by Black Eyes Publishing. We've just had a pretty intense heat wave, and in that time, I went through a breakup. So I thought I would share this poem with you that's called It's Not You, It's Me. It's not you, it's me. I know it's a cliche, but what do you want me to say? It's definitely me. No, really, it isn't you. It's not a good time for me right now. I feel I should be alone somehow, so that's what I'm going to do. Please try to understand. I just can't share a bed with you. I can't even bring myself to touch you. It's not something I planned. Just the thought of you getting turned on to me right now is just so wrong. I want us to take a break. Perhaps in a couple of months it'll feel like a mistake and we can get back together, but in this hot weather, I just can't hack it. Goodbye, my sweet, sweet electric blanket. Right. So that was me. I will then kick off the open mic, and it's my great pleasure to call up to our virtual mic Rose Leonard. So if you want to unmute yourselves and make some noise for Rose Leonard, please.
Hi, didn't realise I was going to be on straight away. So I'm going to read a poem that I was invited to write as a tribute to one of the Dimmock poets, Robert Frost. And I read it at the Ledbury Poetry Festival at a lovely event a couple of nights ago. And or was it just last night? Gosh. Yeah, and the poem I was writing a tribute to was The Road Not Taken. And I'm sure you're all familiar with that poem. I don't know if you all know that actually it's not as straightforward as like, oh, I took the road less traveled and that made all the difference. Actually, he was being a bit sarcastic and he was playing with us, and there's a whole other story to it. So I tried to bring some of that in my poem. Good Boots. To Robert Frost. I see you in well-dubbined boots, their leather rubbed with wax and grease to stride 1,000 country roads less travelled, trample grasses, leaves, and bramble. Venturing thus shod, you would be free to muse. I try to tread where once you led, but find the way grown over. Yellow day has drained to dusk. I long for signs, to know for sure the choice I need to make. An arrow, roughly scribed with paint, just legible through weeds, to tell me this is the route you won't regret in years to come. But you leave me cryptic words, so I choose the path that is not strewn with moss or wet with rain. I walk the one that gets me home with feet still dry. I know this choice will make but little difference to my fate. And that's in an anthology, the Dimmock Poets anthology, Echoes and Replies.
That's lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's always better to get home with dry feet.
Well, yes.
Thank you. Jason, do you want me to put the running order in the chat? Let me see if do you want to do it?
I'll do it now, yeah.
You're doing it. Okay, cool. All right, thank you, Rose. So next up, yes, here we go. The running order's just come in. So next up, Laura Greville, please come up to our virtual mic.
Thank you so much, and lovely start, Rose. Could I please share the screen? Will that work? Sharing is not. Is
hopefully it should be automatic. Yeah, I'm just allowing it now.
Yes, okay, thank you. And I'm going to read a piece from the Trump Derangement Syndrome anthology published by PGN, and this is obviously about, yes, that. So make this a little bigger, and this gets a little ugly at the end. Obsession ran for office as names dropped like hot rocks, sizzled on the griddle of infamy, as hames were framed round the houses of government. A turbulent construction, chains attached to trace the breakaway direction of hooves that beat mimicry in the face of democracy. As names drop like cocked rocks on dusty roads of derision, obsession cracks the whip of ridicule, chains tighten, tensions of mob rule rise, blinders left and right. While obsession runs for office, his legs hairy with wire quips, his hair lightning colored, sprouting out to trip, gripping the air strips where judgeship horsewhips the dust-trodden voter, waiting on a convenience store corner in a post-stork apocalypse for the wonder of popsicles that don't melt under horseshoes forged with hell's hammer by blacksmiths and hoodwink hoods and farriers harried by glare of truth and lie and dare. As names drop like rotten rocks, obsession runs for office again, cracks the whip for flair, drives a cart filled with fruit and fart and scare, paints names on flanks that could evolve to tanks, rolling over voters who lick their chops that stink of what roadkill was left, pressed on cartwheels that obsession greased with skill. With his poster power, strength makes right. He cracks the whip, licks his lips, leathered with his sour script, open for his rotten stench. Breathe in, naive sister. Breathe in, sleeping brother. The cocktail will numb your last unwilling clinch while you moan and boo like a rabies foaming bitch. Thank you for bearing through that.
Wow. Brilliant. Loved the equestrian imagery. And the line fruit and fart and scare. I don't think I've ever heard something like that in poetry before. So yeah, fab. Thank you very much. So another virtual round of applause for Laura. Next up to our mic, we have Michael Sindler. Please join me in welcoming Michael Sindler to the screens.
Yeah, hey everybody, great to be here. Yeah, I mean, Laura's piece was magnificent, but I happen to know that there are a lot of other really good poets in that anthology from PGN. It's really got a lot of great stuff. Um, I'm gonna try and maybe squeeze two in here. This actually. It's about something that happened in the beginning of June, a long time ago, but it's called For the Zoot Suit Riders, June 1942, with thanks to Sandy Shakes. I'm going to take a quick drink of hardcore Diet Coke. Okay. If they cannot make your skin illegal, if they cannot make your soul illegal, if they cannot make your history, your community, your very being against the law, they will attack your culture. They will attack your style, make the outer utterance of what you are, your shield and armor, your bright costume of pride, a crime. Sorry. They will beat you down and chain you. They will push you into cells overcrowded with your innocent, elegant brothers, make you pay for not being them, make you suffer for the color of your skin, make you all too aware that you are not to be you, that you are not to be here, though you were here long before. If they cannot find cause, they will create it. Give false witness to contain you in cages, to contain you in the barrio when cells are full, and make the streets a prison yard. They will make it all as hard as they are able, for as long as they hold power, for as long as they fear darkness, for as long as they cannot understand the freedom folded and stitched into your zoot suit. And I'm gonna just do a little short thing here called Admission of Grin. I have a resting smiley face. It sometimes looks a bit dumb. Whenever and wherever you see me, I will almost always have some grin to guffaw type of smile on. Please note, the smile does not ask you to smile back or obligate you to look or feel any differently. I know smiles should not be coerced, and the same people should not have to do the smiling just to keep pretense up year after year. Your face can rest as it sees best. I'm a grinning fool, I guess. Okay, thank y'all.
Grinning fool seems a bit hard on yourself. But yeah, you have a smiley face, which is very lovely. Thank you for that. There were some fab lines, especially the freedom folded and stitched into your zoot suit. Beautiful. Powerful words. Thank you, Michael. Okie doke. Next up, please help me welcome up to our virtual mic, Margaret Royal.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm going to read to you from my latest pamphlet from Hedgehog, produced just before it closed down. It's called Hemlock and Honey. It's in two parts. Part one is life challenges, the things I've had to contend with in life, I suppose, and overcome. Part two, the honey, is the joy that's resulted from the overcoming. So from part one, 10th challenge of parental restrictions on my teenage clothing choices. It's called How Not to Dress for a Birthday. Blue sailor stripes reflect my river mother's fashion taste. a linen collar, blue bag starched to a white strand of the monks, sewn slant as an Emily Dickinson poem. Blue ripples iced with milky spume, cascading headlong to a roiling pool. This quirk of sartorial elegance, each rose-tip birthday rushing past in summer hopscotch disarray. My mother's choice, a sugar-coated nod to our seaside home, a sailor smock, outwardly feigning bourgeois cool, yet laced with the bohemian vibe of her Bloomsbury alter ego. She hated me as warrior bee in shimmering gold and little black dress, a scintillating belle of the garden ball, napping in campion throats, humming a prima donna aria, yet secretly a defrocked angel blowing a tinny trumpet in final act of defiance. Her sting morphed me from pampered princess to lachrymose Cinderella in soot-black rags. And from the honey section, thank you, a very short one indeed, a little imagistic picture called This Is Enough for Me. My poet's bed, still warm with oversleeping, life's palette drizzling autumn's blossoming grace, splashes of ochre, umber, carmine, sepia, rippling mosaics on watermelon sheets, chiaroscuro for my thirsty soul. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Lots of use of different textures of fabric and colour in both of those, and I liked the sort of, the first poem was very blue, and then you had the ochre and the watermelon and stuff, and the second one, so there's like a nice balance. Yeah, beautiful. And summer hopscotch disarray. Gorgeous. Thank you very much. Next up to the mic, Jeff Cottrell. A round of applause for Jeff, please.
Thank you, Chloe. So if you've heard this one a bunch of times, pretend you haven't. There's been a lot of talk over the last few years about artificial intelligence and how that's going to affect our creative endeavors. Well, this was my experiment with AI poetry. It's called AI Poem. Apparently that's part of the poem. Hello, this is Real Poem by Real Poet. Here is metaphor for futility of life. Life is undercooked pie, devoured by crabs in heat, in purple Commodore 64 computer, divided by 43. Why is sky green? Because there is no bananas in portrait of my last duchess. My name is Ozymandias, hear me roar, and she is buying stairway in park with George. Summertime, and your mother is easy, and I guess that is why they call it blue velvet. Exit pursued by Bear Bobkin. Now, Real Poet tries to obtain Arts Council grant. Hello, this is conventional literary poet. Poet writes about nature and poet's pet cat and struggles of poet's immigrant family before poet was born, and wild caribou that is symbol for futility of life, and lots of alliteration and sound bonding. An error has occurred. To continue, press Enter to return to the stanza, or press Ctrl-Alt-Delete to restart the poem. If you do this, you will lose any unsaved imagery in all of the previous lines. Error 0E 016F BFF 9B 3D 4. Press any key to continue. 0% complete, 13% complete, 34% complete, 57% complete, 78% complete, 93% complete, 98% complete, 99% complete. 100% complete. Hello, this is Real Poem by Real Poet. Now, Real Poet tries to score high slam points. Hello, this is Slam Poet. Poet is very politically aware and cares deeply about relevant social issues and uses audience as personal group therapy and uses word awesome sauce for laugh and ends poem before 3-minute time limit. Real Poem ends now. Signed, Real Poet. Thank you. That's the future of poetry, AI poem. Couple of quick plugs. I was involved in an ongoing festival, online festival, Canada Fiction Fest, and you can see my events on YouTube. I will put the links in the chat. My novel Performance Reviews is available from Amazon. I can put those links in the chat again. I'm doing an online gig, poetry gig, next Thursday the 9th, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning UK time. So probably Mike Sindler's the only one who could make that. But if you want, I'll put that in the chat too. That's me. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Thanks, Jeff. Round of applause for Jeff, as always, utterly hilarious. Bang on point, especially with the 37% complete and all that, and then stuck on 99% complete for half an hour. We've all been there. Thank you so much. Okay, and next up to our virtual mic is Julie Stevens. Please, round of applause for Julie Stevens.
Thank you, Chloe. Well done, Jeff. I'm still giggling to that one. I'm going to read my 2 poems that have been published in the Aftershock review this time. Start with snails. I walk with the snails, never knowing where my feet will land. I can stand, sit, but what is this if my feet refuse to move? I walk with the snails, never knowing if I'll crush their only shelter. Across the garden to the kitchen, I should cook, serve. I walk with the snails, wanting to lift them, carry them to safety. Instead, I find another place to collapse where no one hears. I am a snail, trying not to break. Lift me before the day shatters. And then this one is called Tigers. How do I cope? It's easy. I just sink on the sofa and weep wine. I write a thank you card to my doctor and drench it in white vinegar, post it with a blooded stamp. I keep tigers in my wardrobe and let them gnaw on my arms at night. It sends them to sleep. I fall on the shiniest floors every day and laugh. People always walk by and sigh. Come back next time, I call out, but they never do. I tick every answer in my head and write 10 out of 10 because no one checks. I tell everyone I'm fine, then quickly phone my therapist, tell him I'm fine, and discuss it with the tigers. They never seem to know. When I check in to A&E, I tell them about the tigers, but no one seems to care. I show them the bites on my arms, and they show me theirs. Thank you.
Round of applause for Julie. Wow, 2 killer end lines there. Yeah, the I am a snail trying not to break, lift me before the day shatters. Amazing. And I liked how you started off walking with snails and then turned into a snail. And oh my God, we've all stepped on snails and it's the worst. It's the worst feeling. Yeah, thank you for those. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Rick Spizak. please welcome Rick to the mic with me. Round of applause. Over to you, Rick.
Thank you so very much. It's an honor to be here. I want to mention that in the chat, I put an interview that we had with Gerald Kells, a wonderful poet, and I urge you to check that out. So I've got two little pieces for you. They'll come within the 3 minutes, I hope. This first one, a very serious poem. You know, many people have to have support animals that they carry with them everywhere. I, on the other hand, have a support stegosaurus. I need my special support stegosaurus. Political news informs us. The plates on his back protect us all from attack. Those sharpened spikes on his tail protect us without fail. His cranium thinneth, useful for getting inneth, slipping under doorways into meetings which we wouldn't otherwise be seeneth. But one thing I can contest, surely you cannot stretching distendeth. Old Steggy is leggy, and the plates on his spine will gently poke and prod your mind, with their glimmering, shimmering shineth, like the goblets of the finest claret, or some other such wine. Can you bear it? Munching slowly his savory salad, eating all lethargy, erasing and ministering each misery mine, perhaps with a ballad. Steggy is leggy and hard to refuse, a demon of the deltaphonic ironical blues. Beebe and Elon have studied with him, so dashingly devastating and debonair, and betwixt us both sure to win. And then I offer you this tribute to what's left of science in America. It's called If the Researchers Don't. If researchers don't share the dope, will the virus then just plumb give up hope? If researchers can't take and share their notes, does that mean the fever's broke? If the virus doesn't get publicity, does it mean for us inoculations are no longer a medical necessity? If we go pulling a pillow over our collective heads, will it help us when we're dead? If we close all the funeral homes, does that mean death himself will no more roam? If scientists allow big fools like these to remove the tools we need against all disease, so then scientists must be revolutionaries too. If any of us are to survive this corrupted, foolish, Trumptatious zoo, all and every the Trumpian denialism steers us dizzily toward the cliff of ignorosity and revivalism. Or may cooler heads yet prevail? Does the Secretary of Health wear or dine on his own tail? Must we resort to the 17th century theories of humor? Are voodoo dolls next? Will they be used to remove the hex? Or will it work on tumors? Will we be bleeding? Will that be next? Shall we just throw out science? Oh, what the heck? Sharing knowledge is the basis of science. Provable hypotheses have given us reliable, provable science, and reduces catastrophe. But these fools that try to hide information, we know their game. They've never won, not in any nation. Thank you, Mike. An honor to be here.
Amen for science. And yeah, we're very anti-ignorosity. I love the rhymes. The rhymes were brilliant. And yeah, Steggy is leggy is fantastic, and and debonair as well. You know, there's a debonair stegosaurus, and I love the line about pulling a pillow over our collective heads. Yeah, yeah, an excellent message there. Thank you. And now we have, I believe, our final open mic of this first half before Lucy comes and entertains us. And that will be Jenna Plews. I hope I've said that correctly. If not, please correct me. Please welcome Jenna.
I've got two poems for you, both quite short. Lament, which is after a poem called Lament that Gillian Clarke wrote years ago. For the girl living her life on screen, for the boy with a knife in the playground, for the street child, the gang, for the sofa surfer and the runaway, the girl asleep in a doorway, the singer in the underpass, for the man camping each night in his car, the woman at the food bank, for the door key teenager, for the post office and the bank, the butcher and the dress shop, shuttered and up for sale, for the ties that held us together, fraying and falling apart, for the cold winds scattering. And the second one is Stop Shouting and Listen. Have you been so hungry you've eaten grass? Stumbled down dry riverbeds over cattle bones, carrying a daughter that weighs less than a handful of straw, too weak to cry, Have you climbed over the rubble of your home, heaved broken concrete from the bodies of your sons, wiped blood and dust from the face of your dying wife? Have you listened to screams through the walls of your cell, still dream of cattle prods, hooks and chains, water tanks, blindfolds and hoods, wake every night drenched in sweat? Have you lost everything you loved? Stop your weasel words, your lies. Wipe off your slogans, burn your placards. Tell me what you would have done if you had been me.
Gosh, wow, Jenna. Just shining a spotlight on some very important topics there. That first one was really powerful through its sparseness. Just you didn't add any emotion, it said it all, of our modern society. And the second one was very powerful. The so hungry you've eaten grass. Wow. It's important to talk about these things, so thank you. That was fantastic. So that is the end of the first part of our open micers. Thanks to all of you for sharing and for supporting each other and referencing each other, and sharing all your achievements and your events in the chat. That's fantastic. So now all that's left for me at this point is to introduce our headliner, the wonderful Lucy Heuschen. Lucy Heuschen is a British poet based in the Rheinland in Germany. Her Jerwood Prize-nominated debut collection, Daughter of Fire, is published by Yaffle Press in 2025 and is inspired by wayward women from medieval times to the present day. Lucy is the author of 2 pamphlets. The first is We Wear the Crown, published by Hedgehog Press in 2022, about her experience of breast cancer. And the second is Loggerheads, published by The Broken Spine in 2024. She was commended in the Poetry Society Stanza competition in 2024 and 2025 and shortlisted in the Kathryn Bevis Memorial Prize 2025. Lucy loves poetry anthologies and has appeared in several, including Black Bough, New Contexts and Sídhe Press. You can also find her words in Dreamcatcher, The High Window, Lighthouse, The Storms, Skylight 47, Ink, Sweat and Tears, The Orphic Review, Obsessed with Pipework and Green Ink. For more information, you can visit lucyheuschen.co.uk and her social media, and we'll put those details in the chat with the links and social media handles. So some incredible achievements, and it's a joy to have her here. Please welcome Lucy Heuschen.
Hello. Oh, there's my big head. Dearie me. Thank you, Chloe, for that lovely introduction. And thank you, everybody, in that first part of the open mic. And I was jotting down from Jason's comment, boom, onwards, favourite line. So Rose's I walk the one that takes me home. Laura's fruit and fart and scare. Obviously, Chloe, a lot of these you picked up as well. Michael, you are not to be you. Margaret from the spume and the sailor's smock and the summer hopscotch disarray. Jeff's AI classic, all corrupted. Julie Snails and Tigers. Richard's devastating debonair, Steggy. And that refrain, have you, from Jenna. Thank you. And I'm going to screen share if that's all right, Chloe and Jason. And I just would also just at the start like to say I'm a huge fan of GPS. I'm a huge fan of Crafty Crows. I've been here a few times and it's good to see so many lovely, friendly, familiar faces and also new faces to me in the room. And Jenna had that line, tell me what you would have done if you had been me. And I just jotted that down because to tell you before I read for you that this book, Daughter of Fire, from Yaffle, that came out, my first collection, is inspired by Margaret of Anjou, Queen Margaret of Anjou, the 15th century Queen of England, protagonist in the Wars of the Roses. And she's mostly known nowadays as Shakespeare's She-Wolf of France from the history plays. And she's been portrayed on TV in a number of ways, and normally very doom and gloomy, very dour, very grumpy, and not at all empathetic. And I just thought, you know what? I got really angry when I saw a number of those adaptations and Shakespeare productions, and just thought I actually want to see if I can find some links with the real woman. Margaret was a wife, a daughter, a politician, a schemer, a mother after a long wait. She was a warrior queen. She wasn't an adulteress or a murderess, not directly, but she was responsible for a lot of bloodshed. So it's a real mixed legacy. I'm not going to say too much more about her apart from the fact that this collection takes her story right through to the modern day and considers her alongside many other women who have been labelled as wayward or misbehaving or nonconformist, including myself. And so one of my favourite poets is Ruth Padell, and I had the pleasure of reading with her at Cheltenham a couple of years ago. And she said then, it's always stayed with me, that with a collection, there's many different ways that you can follow your thread through a collection. And so the thread I've chosen for this evening was that personal connection between Margaret and myself through motherhood. So without that, hopefully that gives you enough of a flavour. Don't worry, it is not a history exam. There is no exam at the end. I will not be picking on people and asking questions about 15th century medieval history, so worry not. I'll give context where needed. So let's get going. I'm just going to see if I can share. Where's it gone? Hold on a second. Can't see the correct PDF. Where's all that? It would be, wouldn't it? Share again. No, I have to do it from Word. It's not giving me PDF for some reason. Okay. Can someone give me a thumbs up to say that you can see that? Great. Okay, so I'm going to start with engaging directly with that she-wolf stereotype, and it's still something that gets thrown about, strong women to this day. So I thought we'd start directly with Margaret's own voice before we leap in. So this is She, after Jackson Pollock's painting The She-Wolf, which is in the collection of MoMA in New York. I will speak the only way I know as a wolf-headed woman. Song and snarl, kiss and heart howl, hackling at every orphan cry. Years sucking my flesh to red seam. I will speak what I know as truth. As a woman-headed wolf, there are teeth in everything. So Margaret grew up in Anjou in southwest France, and she had an amazing couple of female examples in her grandmother Yolande, who was a patron of Joan of Arc, and her mother Isabel, who was Duchess of Lorraine in her own right and fought wars and prosecuted claims for kingdoms on behalf of her husband when he was ransomed. So in 1443, I should say, Isabel sent Margaret off to England to marry King Henry VI, one of the worst kings of England ever. And so this is imagining that last conversation before kissing her daughter goodbye. Maman. Viens, Marguerite, shoulders back. One last inspection before I kiss you into the safekeeping of strangers. You are old enough to understand the life of a queen, her path of crushed roses, salt and honey. It is God's will, noble work. Listen to your body, feel his love working through you, for you. And if he is silent, work harder. After all, how can you say, this is my desire, my ambition, if you blanch at the price? I bled for you, Marguerite, paid for you, over and over, my body clenched, split and spilled for you. Then you sang in the small hour, and I had my reward. So Margaret, off she went across the sea through storms and awful weather to be the new Queen of England. She would have pretty quickly realised that she landed in a nest of vipers, not a vest of vipers, a nest of vipers. And the Duke of Suffolk, who brought her across actually on her long voyage, was one of her closest friends and advisors. I don't believe they were lovers, as Shakespeare had it, but he was certainly, she was a long way from home and she needed a close friend, and he was certainly that to her, maybe a bit of a father figure. He was much older. This is Margaret and Suffolk at the chessboard. She skulks in her chair, scowling at the state of play. A finger hovers over red and white. Her eye is bright for the game, but she lacks strategy. Patterns she should predict, sacrifices she could make. She watches him take piece after piece, and now he's by her side with all the gambits he knows. He reaches over her shoulder. Warm skin covers hers. Like this. She wants to see every move laid out to the checkmate. It is silly, n'est-ce pas, this rule that only the king can leap. So Henry, as I said, was a pretty ineffective king, and he had, what today we'd have a lot of sympathy for. He had a complete mental breakdown in 1453, and there was a complete vacuum of power, because if the king couldn't rule, there was no parliament or anything like that to sort things out. Margaret thought she should be the person who was going to take that role, but of course there had never been a regnant queen in England, so that was unheard of, although it was more common in France. She was at the point Henry went into his catatonic state. He was gone under for about 18 months, and she didn't have hindsight, so she didn't know, and she was heavily pregnant at last after 8 years of marriage. So this is the devilment of mirrors. Wherever the king is, he sunk deep, surrendered to the undertow, soft as watered silk. The physicians try poultices, purges, prayers, bleeding and cupping, scarifying his shaven head. Words are stones cast into the dark, men all around. She will not let them handle him. But someone must. His face is a smeared glass, foxed and baffled, the only reflection her own. Her womb strains. Come Lucifer himself, there is no shadow version where she looks away. Oh, sorry. So this next poem, as I said, after 8 years of what they would have called being barren in those days, because of course it was always a woman's fault not being able to conceive. It was nothing to do with her husband being an absolute pious, preferring to be in church than in bed. Nothing like that. No, it was all her. So all the pressure was on her. She eventually had a baby boy, Edward of Westminster. You can see the form here of her circling the wagons or circling, completing her circle with this birth. I'm not going to make you do that. So I have to set it out underneath. This is At Last. Our boy of curling dreams, milk mouth drawing, bright shining compass, my purpose, my darling, my duty to take you from a beautiful dream and forge you into scarlet iron for England's fire. So we're staying with Edward, with her son, and Margaret, having fulfilled her duty, was then criticised for how she did it. Of course she was. We still are today. And one of the famous stories, they're all negative, they're all spread by the history written by the winners. So because spoiler alert, things didn't go well for her in the Wars of the Roses. It was said that she shock horror raised her son to talk of nothing but cutting off heads. What else could she have done? She didn't want him to become his father. She needed him to be more like his grandfather, Henry V. So this is a lesson. Fair son, what death shall these two traitors die? The men watch, quiet as mist on the battlefield. Edward wriggles to his feet, staying close enough that she could touch his hair, blow dust specks from his cheek. She does not move. She notices new freckles. Always outdoors, this one, hunting down liverpool. Excellent training, but time for bigger prey. His instructions when they come, are what she hoped to hear. The axe, Lady Mother, let them die by the axe. So, good medieval mothering, there you go. So there were lots and lots and lots of battles in the Wars of the Roses, as those who remember their school history may know. I'm not really interested in any of that. I'm interested in the quiet spaces in between. And when she had a couple of major victories, but for the most part, her side was a bit hopeless and a bit disorganized and fought amongst themselves. She very often was on the run from the late 1450s onwards. And she took her son with her. She couldn't take Henry because he was king, but she could take her son and protect him. So this is Cave. I gather leaves to pillow my boy, and he curls up like a fox. But I am frozen. My fear is a root-piercing rock. Footsteps. Is it a man foraging supper, or hiding soldier Scarlet under his cape? A childless father, a wifeless husband. Did I make him so? If he asks who we are, if my voice betrays me, if my enemy's song has spread so far, will he lay his cloak for my bed or open my throat? What have I left to barter if it came to that? This is no place to dwell. Dead lie upon dead, the swan-white sky streaked with feathery ash. Come now, keep moving. Your enemy is not a man, it is the sun. Ooh. So as I said, I'm staying with this theme of being mother and potentially maybe mother to boys, as I am as well. In 1471, after years of being on the losing side and 10 years of exile in France in relative poverty, she returned only to find that her allies in England had been defeated, and she had to go on the run and try and make it across to Wales with her army. She met the opposing forces at Tewkesbury on the 4th of May, 1471. Her son and heir, Edward, her beloved boy that she'd waited so long for, went into battle for the first time on that day. He was just 17 years old. He didn't make it, as you maybe see from the date at the top. So this is Aubade with Tiercel, and a Tiercel is a baby falcon. At birth you claimed the world. Soon you were double, treble, tenfold, your voice serrated, a raptor's beak. Sometimes I had to curb your baiting or whistle you from brambles. Sometimes you bit and tore my flesh. You were not always kind. What of it? Kindness is for rabbits, not kings. Ah, that earned me a sharp look. You are right. You are ready. So cast off, cast off. Whatever cries you hear, strike hard. Do not turn for home. I've read that at when I was over at Cheltenham last time. I read that and recorded it outside Tewkesbury Abbey, which was a very emotional experience. So that's a real favourite. Okay, so sadly that was it. Once Edward had been killed in that battle, Henry, her husband, was put to sleep a few days afterwards in the Tower of London. And Margaret ended her days ransomed back to France. The King of France took all of her worldly goods, gave her a small pension, and that was the end of her time. She was just 52 when she died, which might sound, in those days, of course, that may have been seen as a ripe old age. It makes me feel terribly sorry because I'm going through menopause at the moment, and I think that poor woman, she was probably doing the same thing, and then she died, you know. So this is my questions of sympathy, or my statement of sympathy for her. This is end of days. Did your lady report to the priest, sheets unblemished as laundry day? Did the apothecary whisper about pent-up humours, the souring of bile? Did the waves hit suddenly? Did they seep, or did you rattle like a shipwreck? Did you negotiate the small luxury of cooled water? Did someone fan a sea breeze on your skin as matins came and went? Could you summon your old red rage for this fight? And if so, who were you fighting for? Did your faith lapse in droplets? Did you consider one last crazy escape? Did you ache like a penitent? Did lost ones circle, rising and falling in a great song? Did you make peace with the apocalypse? Did your lady cross herself as she left you asleep? Be our advocate, O sweet lady, before your own son of your womb. Okay, so that was the end of Margaret's life. It was definitely not the end of her story. So the book's got really 3 sections to it, like 3 acts, like a play. The first 2 are Margaret. The third is taking her legacy and sort of casting her forward into right up until the present day. Some people know, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, she's supposed to be one of the main role models for Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones. So rather than give you all Shakespeare, I thought I'd go a little bit more contemporary and give you a take on fantasy women. She's a genre I watch, but often shaking my head at the treatment of the women. Lena Headey, who this poem is for, has spoken about being basically abused in the street for playing the role of Cersei Lannister, who's this figure of hatred. This is Fantasy Women for Lena Headey. We begin like Venus, soft curves and golden hair. Sometimes we're witches. Often we're fucking someone who, spoiler, is not our husband. We bury betrayals and setbacks with our murdered children in deep, haunted vaults. Our words are a finger snap. We are infinitely memeable, especially when the small folk accost us in the street, strip us, stone us, call us whores. Oh, writers, we are bored of it, so we'll keep on refusing to die, bare-breasted, shameless. We will not repent. We bask in wild green fire. We tumble men like cities. Okay, and then the next few are sort of personal to me. I won't say too much about them. One Way to Become a Mother. Portishead burns through 1930s walls, oral bumps like a Doppler heartbeat. He's fetal on the sofa, bunched up. I try reaching out for him, but find he's already gathering for expulsion. I don't know yet the depths he'll fall, the toxicity of the bombs he'll lob, the chemical eradication of joy. I don't yet know how it will take me. Dead connections, encrypted emails, echoes of silence. I don't yet know that I'll take it all on, believing that love spread wide as arms can save the most wounded beast. I don't yet realise my role in all this. Feel my pulse doubling. Stained glass wings, breaking for him against the barricades. Sorry, that's my Fitbit going mad. Kim. He sits behind his desk, hands folded across his belly, frowning over his expensive specs. His eyes, his shiny crown, his wedding ring. My God, she thinks, is he visualizing it? Me shagging? Does he think I've neglected work for make-a-baby evenings with my partner? He's saying something about my objectives, lips pursed to his coffee cup. New priorities. HR lays biro flat on yellow paper, listening to black cabs skirmishing on greasy streets. So if you can see this behind me, Medieval Women in Their Own Words was the exhibition, a fantastic exhibition, and I hope some of you may have got to it, I don't know, in at the British Library. And there was this ink and pigment birth girdle, 3 meters long, and the idea it gets wrapped around a woman's belly when she's giving birth as a kind of divine protection. Girdle. At this late hour, the doctors can offer no talisman. I must find my own blessing, aligned to the world while I come untethered. It won't have gemstones, a paper charm will do. My body scrolls, tightens, intricate as a rose held by a crimson knot, a scrawled kenning, known only to the flame. I unfurl, plucked of my small blue amulet. They gather him in silence, form a clean white circle. I grasp at fragments, quiet as confession, familiar as the Lord's Prayer. Okay, as Chloe mentioned, I had breast cancer some years ago, and this gave me a chance actually to write this poem for my mum. So going up a generation, this is motherhood. Uppers and downers, she calls them on the phone. I can't stop her mind racing like a hunted deer. I need to explain if I could just lift the brain fog, stop this conversation and start a different one. How a quarter tab, a friendly yellow flower, sinks me into sleep. How I'm tired of trying to negotiate prescriptions and insurance claims. How I'm static, in stasis, stuck. How my nights have become a PTSD perversion, an unspooling loop of events in high definition. How a slower tempo of days and nights and days helps my face turn just a little towards the sun. How I have seen her wearing a black dress for me, as I have already worn a black dress for myself and for my children as they walk alone to school. How I have learned to let them find the way. I think I'm right in saying I've got one more, if that's okay. And I'd just like to thank you all for being a fantastic audience and looking forward to hearing more over mic in the second half. And thank you, Chloë and Jason, for everything. And yeah, it's just fabulous to have read for you this evening. This is the poem that was in Skylight 47. And it's for actually in 2 weeks' time, he'll be 17 and he hates that I read a poem about him, but there you go. It belongs to everybody, this. Won't you fold this summer into your jeans pocket? When Battle Abbey is half hidden behind your long legs, when you run strong gel through your hair and I wonder if it's for anyone special, if you'll want to tell me details. When your arms, tanned and monkey strong, swing you up into the great oak tree, leaving your brother hopping, earthbound. When your eyes roll my way before helping. When you drag a chair to sit with your friends at dinner, hiding in hoodies, giggling in your unreliable baritones. I'm gossiping with the mums, but what I'm really doing is loving you in the late sun, the peachy shadows of you, compressing memories of you, stacking them sideways as though my capacity to love you could be outgrown. Won't you fold this last summer into your jeans pocket, cradled in an oak, hidden from arrows? Those long vistas can wait a while yet, wait to carry you away on the tide. Thank you very much, everybody.
Everybody unmute yourself if you can and give a massive round of applause to Lucy. That was an incredible set. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. Really gorgeous.
Yeah. Bringing truth to Margaret of Anjou's life. Loved the little smatterings of French in there. As Laura said in the chat, I mean, feel free to add comments in the chat, but as Laura said, it was very atmospheric and full of drama. It was stunning. Some killer lines about the bit where it was silly. It's silly that only the king can leap, and kindness is for rabbits, not kings. Both of those really, I thought they were amazing. And then there was in the second half, there was a callback to the king. It was all beautifully linked. As a breast cancer survivor myself, that poem spoke to me very much, and that last poem about your son was really beautiful and tender. So thank you so much. I don't know if we can share the links to Lucy's website and social media in the chat so that people can hopefully find more of her work. Otherwise, I'll do it in the break because.
I'll do it. I'll do it now, Chloe. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
sure, that's a good idea. Yeah, do that. Thank you. So yes, we're coming up to the break. So we do have one spare open mic slot in the second half. If anybody's feeling inspired and would like to share something, just drop us a note in the chat. We'll try and keep an eye out for that. I want to thank all the readers in the first half. That's Rose, Laura, Michael, Margaret, Jeff, Julie, Rick, Jenna, and of course our headliner, Lucy Heuschen. We're going to take a short break. How long should we take, Jason, before coming back?
If we come back at 12 minutes past.
12 minutes past, yes. All right, we'll take a few minutes to freshen up and see you in a moment. Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of this July edition of Crafty Crows. I am still Chloe, hosting today. So a few announcements before we kick off the second half of the poems. We've got the schedule for the next 3 Crafty Crows. So on the 5th of August, our headliner will be Karen Downs-Barton. On the 2nd of September, Willis the Poet, and on the 7th of October, Kate Jenkinson, all wonderful poets. So please join if you can, and of course there will be the usual open mic spots for everybody to share their work. I also need to let everybody know that the Gloucestershire Poetry Society's poetry open poetry competition is now open for submissions, and you've got until the 30th of September to enter. Stroud-based poet Kate Potts is our judge this year, and I mentioned in the first half about how one can become a GPS member, and that comes with benefits, and one of the benefits is that you can enter up to 3 poems into the competition for free. So enter, send us your best work. Right, I am going to warm everybody back up by reading one of my poems. I had decided to read this anyway, but Laura's poet, her son, in her headline slot reinforced that I should share this poem. I wrote this when my nephew was turning 5 because I was kind of freaking out at how fast he was growing up. And he has just recently turned 13. So yeah, even more freaked out. But this is called Time. What kind of magic is this? Yesterday, your 5 fingers fitted around the smallest of mine. Tomorrow, those 5 fingers will be too few to count the years since then. How can the simplest of ingredients make something grow so fast? Can food, water, and air really be all it takes? Or do you eat time too? Every grain of sand from the castles you build is a minute you thieve from us. Like the tooth fairy hiding under your pillow steals your milk teeth. I'm learning that time is measured in teeth, in sand, in fingers. I'll keep letting you take mine. Thank you. That poem is also in my collection, Take It By the Line. I'll put a link in the chat at some point. Right, on to our fabulous second half open micers. First up to the mic, please join me in welcoming Ed Poetastic.
And thank you so much for being so fantastic. And thank you for being so enthusiastic. And your words are so bombastic. Hello, everyone. My name is Ed Poetastic, feeling fantastic. Please get in time to join my rhyme for all you feel sublime. Sorry about that. I have one poem, and that poem is Dog-eared. In a world where tails wag and whiskers play, we find joy in each of our own special way. Dogs chase squirrels wild and free, while cats lounge around carefree. We scratch away our pesky fleas to ease the burden of our misery. People blatantly avoid, but don't see. We are the cats and dogs in this poetry. Unlike stupid dogs or annoying cats, okay, but you know what I say about that? We are all the same playing the game. We refuse to be lame and tame. Can I please go on without any issue? Are you sniffling? Do you need a tissue? Please embrace your unique animal. They're unpredictable, yet so reliable. We dig for treasures, both young and old. Cats curl in warm laps, feeling bold. We play and fetch with hearts full of cheer, pounce on shadows with nothing to fear. With scratches behind ears and playful nips, life little pleasures or joyous trips. Let's wag our tails and stretch our paws, embrace our true selves without flaws. Whether a dog or a cat full of grace, together we frolic in this joyful space. Don't let your freedom go to waste. Freedom is great, but only if you embrace. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Some wise words there. I liked the cats and dogs of poetry. Let's wag our tails and stretch our paws. Yeah. Are you more of a cat or a dog person? Or both?
I love dogs.
Nice. Yes. Fabulous. Well, thank you again, Ed. Next up to our virtual mic, we have Gerald Kells. Please make some noise for Gerald.
Hi, thank you. My mother is waiting. She's waiting for me. I didn't come home for my lunch or my tea. I didn't come back when I normally do. I didn't bring friends like I normally do. I didn't bring homework or little girl dreams. I'm not coming back, or so it seems, 'cause my mother is waiting and watching pass by an American bomber way up in the sky. Thank you. And I'll do another one, but just before I do, I should mention that July the 19th, 2:15 in Wolverhampton, I am doing my first one-man show, How Christian Music Changed My Life and It's Not What You Think. So if you fancy a trip up to Wolverhampton, come and see me. In the heat, I went to Shrewsbury for a meeting, and this is about that. It's called Day Off. It's my day off, sort of, and I'm travelling to Shrewsbury. There is a warning of heat and delays, but the breeze in Wolverhampton tempers the oppression. I refuse today to worry about climate change and catastrophe, wars and famine, even the earthquakes that pepper our planet. I refuse today to engage with commentators who lure Armageddon toward the horizon, or extermination, or both, with extra toppings. It's my day off, sort of, and beyond the parched fields, the trees are green with joy, the hedgerows fat, and the ragwort and foxglove bloom. I embrace the yellow and gold, the lilac and blue, the empty, unremitting sky in which God lives, the wide world stretching to a thin horizon of hope. I embrace the journey, the train, the knowledge of a hare somewhere running in front. Hey, Mr. Human, I can do Turner paintings too. It is my day off, sort of, and it's glorious, wonderful. I have got to that point where life no longer feels unending, after which time turns vivid. I am travelling to Shrewsbury despite all the warnings. Tomorrow I will return to the world. I will engage again because justice and peace matters. But today is for me, just for me. Still a pilgrim, just a little bit older, still seeking oneness with the world. Thank you.
Fabulous, Gerald. The second one was brilliant. Like you something about you lure Armageddon towards the horizon with extra toppings, and how you were focusing on the little things that can make you happy, because like you've realized that life is not, like you said, unending anymore, and so you're finding pockets of joy whilst the world is going to hell in a handbasket, and that's really important that we do that. So thank you for that, and yeah, go check him out at his show at the Wolverhampton Fringe Fest, isn't it? So yeah, congratulations on that, and I hope it goes really, really well.
I'll put something in the chat just in case.
Brilliant. Yeah, share again. Chuck it back in if you can. Fab. So next up to our mic, we have Lucia Daramus. Lucia, over to you, everybody. Welcome, Lucia.
Thank you. My poem, End, by Lucia Daramus. And Linka stopped eating her sandwich. It was spring and the food in sanatorium finished. Hundreds of children. We play, we run, and play and run. I wrote a letter for my parents. I asked a nurse about an envelope. A nurse. Right. I will lick the stamp and drop off your envelope. Your envelope. War. Atomic bomb. We will die. I love you so much. I love. Here is my hand. Drawing hand. I wrote a letter. In my letter, with my dream inside about my parents, with my fears and ideas about bombs. Dead children and war. Yes, I remember. It was in the 80s. I was a child, stuck in a sanatorium, a communist sanatorium, and capitalist countries were in a war of a foam deconstruction. I found later the truth. It was a cold war, but for me as a child, the bomb, the dying people on the streets broke my heart and my mind, and my love for the world brings me to tears. And I wrote a loving letter about sorrow in which I wanted to comfort this world. I ran back to my hospital room, and my letter flew. I kept in my mind, in my heart, the doctor's words. Darling, the earth will survive. Don't be afraid. After this, Katsarkas did not say much, but he caresses my forehead, and his smile, a smile snatched out from his face, flowing in my mind, a child mind in which a bomb flourished. And thank you.
Amazing. I grew up in the 80s too, and I remember being really scared of bombs because obviously they were on the news all the time. That was really powerful. I love the juxtaposition of the envelope and the letter, the lightness of that against the bombs and the death. And yeah, I wrote a letter with my dream inside. It's such a beautiful line. I wrote a loving letter about sorrow. And also the thing about the line about the earth will survive, which is something that we're facing at the moment because we're destroying the planet, but we're destroying ourselves and the earth will carry on without us. But yeah, so thank you, Lucia. That was amazing. Next up to the mic, please make some virtual noise for Susan Butler.
Hi, I didn't really know what to read tonight. Lucy made me think a lot about motherhood with her beautiful poems. So I'm going to read a couple from my first publication, my pamphlet, Learning from the Body, which is largely but not entirely a memoir about my days as a GP. In fact, this one I'm going to read is about the time when I was a junior doctor in obstetrics, something I loved, I never lost the wonder of, but I particularly enjoyed late in the evening when nearly everybody except the staff and the labouring mothers had gone away and left us in peace. This is the work of women. The doctor keeps the stitches small and even, as she was taught in school by the sisters, working by hand down the long length of a skirt and back to make the French seam. A single lamp lights her work. The cone of starch white light picks up the smallest pucker every crooked stitch, standing at her shoulder as sister did, pushing her wire-rimmed glasses down her nose. She stitches the slow completion of the birth, the return of the mother from the inundation that swept through her. Beyond the light, mother and baby begin to learn their separation, the breathy warmth and chill of mouth rooting for nipple, clutching, letting fall, the cushiony curves of cheek and breast, the astonishing instant fit of fist and finger, voices spill from the corridor, calm the havoc of other births, transform parents into grandparents, fade unnoticed beneath the absorbing catch on skin of needle, lips, fingers. Nearly done. The doctor thinks of the nuns as she cuts the last stitch, how they prayed together for each other. Beneath her gown, too small yet to tent the flesh, her baby stretches, rolls, settles back into dreams. And this second one looks back to my childhood when a family of DPs, displaced persons, as they were called in the 50s when I was brought up, lived at the top of our village in very small houses that had no water. When I was a GP, it was families who'd been burnt out of Northern Ireland who came to us. And now, of course, it just gets worse, doesn't it? This is heavy water. Twice weekly, a flat-faced lorry heaves up the hill the iron water tank. Bright splashes spatter darkness on the dusty road. On the verge, wheeled water drums, some ridged, round-bellied, some ramrod straight, brill cream smooth. They smell of spade digging and the blade that churns the washing machines of wealthier women. The children poke their heads into them, calling up echoes. The mother wheels the water. It takes 2 arms, and the father has only one. Perhaps he lost the other in the war. The mother looks at the mantilla pattern of coal dust and sweat worked into his arm, the sugar beet curve of muscle growing in hers, and thinks of home. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. I loved the slightly detached tone of that second poem that sort of allows the harshness and the difficulty to come through, especially with the lines about the missing arm. And the first one was beautiful, the tenderness of the stitching and of the mother and baby. Some beautiful lines I noted. She stitches the slow completion of the birth, and mother and baby begin to learn their separation. And the instant fit of fist and finger was stunning. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, next up to our mic, please help me welcome DK.
I asked the librarian for a book on patience. She said, "It's on hold." I'll leave some accessibility arts information in the chat after this. Consider it the literary equivalent of don't forget to like and subscribe. This poem is a heartfelt tribute to every catastrophic life decision I've made, lovingly reviewed by a judgmental pigeon, an abandoned treadmill, and a cactus building a legal case against me. Roses are red, and my future looks bent. I budget like kings do, then wonder where it went. I stride with the confidence fate forgot to bill, then lose an argument to a moderately steep hill. My life's so British even my breakdown cued, apologized twice, then politely ensued. A pigeon once mugged me in broad daylight, then left a 1-star review of the quality fight. I joined a gym certain I'd conquer my flaws, now my wallet's the only thing building applause. The treadmill sent letters addressed to my ghost, saying, blink twice if you're still alive, at most. My bank account's haunted. I hear distant screams every time I price furniture, holidays, dreams. I checked my balance once, suffered immediate doubt, even the decimal point was trying to get out. I flirt like a system update nobody planned, arriving at worst times with demands and a scan. The mirror said, careful, you've aged quite a lot. I said, you're from Argos, pipe down, shiny pot. My plants hold annual meetings when I enter the room, forecasting drought, negligence, hardship and doom. Even the cactus keeps records and files, tracking my care with increasingly sarcastic smiles. Still here I remain, fueled by tea and bad luck, somehow surviving on charm and sheer pluck. Because life's a daft circus where nonsense belongs, the clowns write the laws and the fools write the songs. So here's to the dreamers, the skint and the bold, turning disasters to stories retold. May your chips stay crispy, your Wi-Fi stay strong, and may your worst choices become your best song. Thanks very much for listening.
Brilliant, DK. I'm sorry you got mugged by a pigeon. Love the humor in that and the images. The treadmill asking you to blink twice, and even the decimal points trying to get out, and your cactus keeping records and files. Yeah, fantastic. It's brilliant. Thank you very much, DK. Next up to the mic, please help me welcome Rob Punton.
Good evening, everybody, and my poem tonight is we've just had a heat wave, and this is about being a fair-skinned person in the heat wave, but it's also a commentary on being disabled in today's society. It's called Fragile. Morning has broken, I awake shattered. The heat is taking its toll on me. The temperatures are tearing my soul apart. I lie here in fear of falling asleep. The climate rising every morning, and there no one every moment, and there's nowhere to find relief. I feel like a delicate bloom whose future is doomed, left out in the direct sunlight, withered, wilted, with no place to hide. I struggle to find shade where I can bathe my bruised, blistered skin, where I can treat my battered, broken battered body. I plead for shade from every person who passes me by, hoping some Samaritan will take pity on this pitiful sight. Find me, guide me to somewhere I can find a degree of shade, somewhere I can discover a little relief. Hand me a drop of water so I can hydrate this dehydrated body. My fear is twofold, the double-edged sword, a complex dilemma. I fear no one will see me, none will recognize my flight. They will ignore my fight for life, leave me out in the heat, where I will scorch, burn and die in this relentless heat. My other fear is that people will move me into the shade, but in the shade, people will fail to see me. I will disappear into the shadows, where I will never be seen again. Excuse me. People will never hear my cries for help. I will vanish before your eyes, never to be seen or heard again. In the shade, in the shadow, far from the sun, that is a dark place, that is a cold place. In the dark, in the cold, it's cold. In the dark, in the cold, it's dangerous space and place. For the cold also, care. So position yourself in life is a delicate game of balance, forever on the move, constantly repositioning yourself. For it is easy to slip up, place yourself or others in a vulnerable position, which is why I refer to myself as fragile. Thank you.
Wow, Rob. That was really powerful. In the first half, when you're talking about the heat wave, there were some really violent words like, awake shattered and tearing my soul apart. And I really, obviously, we've all been through this heat wave and some of us are going through it right now. I think Jeff mentioned that they're getting it in North America. That was really, really tough. And then, the putting it against then, when you're in the shade, then people just don't see you. It's a double-edged sword. People will fail to see me in the shade was a really strong line. And where to position yourself in life is a delicate balance. So thank you for sharing that. That was, really powerful. Next up, next open micer is our wonderful head of the GPS, Jason Conway. Please help me welcome Jason.
Thank you, Chloe. What a wonderful evening so far. Thanks, everybody. And a wonderful set, Lucy, as well. Fantastic work. You must buy that collection, by the way. I've got two poems to share on the themes of depression and chronic pain. First one is called North Facing. Is it possible to ever truly know you? Your manicured lawn, the strategic planting scheme protected by picket fencing. You're an all too familiar view, considered a des res, polite and perfectly amenable, charming in summer's light, rarely engaged in gossip, never gossiped about. Is it possible we only know of you? For we can never be that close, to know the doorbell doesn't work. Smoke never leaves the chimney, the weeds creep in the borders, damp bubbles behind whitewash. If only we took the time to drop by, would we even acknowledge the subsidence cracks, rot at the base of fence posts? Is it possible we do not care to know? And my final poem, Hymn for the Frozen. Shanty, 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 pray I. Moth in claret-bladed grass, I long for the moon to rise, bless me to dust. As hoverfly, I thirst for nectar, perch on Queen Anne's pins. Under a noble osmium sky, a brittle wing burns cold. As bee, I heard chicken and hen form powdered phoenix eggs. Smithy blood of amber burns, a candle for the long sleep. As spider, I hunt an orchard, resting fruit shrouded in silk. I draw fire from the cauldron, curse this cuticle of knives. As rabbit, I wave a white flag, and in this delirium I seek, between the fox of affliction, a requiem for peace. Thank you.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Moth in claret bladed grass. Wow. Bless me to dust. That was beautiful. And absolutely love that first one with the metaphor of the house, the des res. Funny to have the line des res, or you know, the expression of des res in a poem about depression. I wrote a poem about the inside of my head feeling like a decrepit house, but that was about anxiety. But it's a strong metaphor, and it really, really works. That was amazing. Is it possible we only know of you? Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Jason. Okay, next open mic has stepped in to fill our free spot. Kate, I hope I didn't mangle your name. Please help me welcome Kate Charalambides. Charalambides? I hope I said that right. If not, please correct me. Please help me welcome Kate.
Thank you, Chloe. Kate Hill Charalambides, which is not the correct Greek Cypriot pronunciation, but I prefer to use both my names because I live in France. I've been living here since I was 20. I now live in Alsace, and I love historical poetry, but thank you so much for this evening. I found out about it through Lucy, and it's been the opportunity to meet you and listen to your wonderful poems. I'm trying to prepare a collection about Alsace, which is historical. I've chosen a poem which has been published about the Statue of Liberty, which was made by Bartholdi in Colmar, which is about 30 miles or no, 20 miles from where I live, and was gifted to America in 1884. And this poem is called Even the Dead Can Dream. Continental cuisine has simmered for centuries. The cauldron was ignited by an unexpected freeze in the Golden Age. Cereal prices rocketed, peasants murdered when they protested, the rich gloated. Revolution then tossed the pan and flipped the shape of power, delivering new goodies. Égalité, fraternité, liberté. France gifted the recipe and a statue to the USA, where the sun danced upon new arrivals. Today, yellow vests pepper politics, remembering the wounds of a lineage. On the other side of the pond, uprooted faces live inside a gash in the liberty, clinging to her lower limbs. They drip dead birds, while millionaires ingest hefty cuts and cuts are cool. Long green tongues dress the volume nudity of broken and twisted protrusions. Detritus is brewing in the American pie. Buoyant as a duck's arse in the tides of our collective waves, brimming with messages of burning, flames older than memory. The desire to do away with our freshly seasoned alterity. Don't let their noise enter your pantry. Instead, absorb silently every single ingredient of your individuality. And remember the dead who are still waiting to be served.
Fabulous. Thank you, Kate Hill Chalambides. Hopefully I said it better that time. Obsessed with the food and the cooking metaphors in that poem. The revolution tossed the pan and flipped the shape of Bower. Beautiful. And buoyant as a duck's arse, which takes me back to that line about farts and stuff that we had in the first half. I just love a little crude line in a poem. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, and finishing with a really, really strong ending. So yeah, thank you for joining us, and all the way from France. It's lovely to have you here. Hopefully you'll come back again. Right, so next up, we've only got 2 more open micers. So our penultimate open micer in the second half of the July edition of Crafty Crows is Chris Hemingway. Please help me welcome Chris.
Hello. A couple of short ones. First one started out being about the Buzzcocks and then ended up being about Britain and Europe. I think I just left the windows open for too long or something. It's called Pulse. Petra knew about craft work, music driven by roads and railways that went on forever, never fluctuating or hesitating. Those boys from English technical colleges in skinny ties and diamond pattern jumpers, building DIY synths from the backs of faulty TV sets, like Martin, the pen pal who she planned to meet while she was here. He said he knew Pete Shelley from the Buzzcocks, then when pressed, admitted he had only bumped into him once in Safeway, asking for an autograph for some other girl he had a crush on. So it wasn't going to happen, and if he kept ringing, her phone had seized up so she couldn't answer, even if she'd wanted to. Petra knew about craft work and the roads and the railways, and when she thought about Martin and that repeating engaged tone, just as the train lurched to an abrupt percussive stop, she knew about the Buzzcocks too. Thank you. With apologies if there was too much assumed knowledge in that first poem. The second one is called X Stands for the Unknown, and it's about measurement and mystery. The engineer wakes and calibrates his dreams. They dart across the page, flickering as he struggles to impose rows and columns. Combinations of facts and fictions multiply, approaching a working infinity. The mathematician traces a future of tangents, lines lightly touching curves, and in his mind, X is not the unknown, more of a midpoint between emptiness and certainty. The astronomer points his lenses to the sky and wonders how to tell the future from stars that shone so long ago. He cries out for answers. Are we alone? Though really he's asking, is he? But the universe will not answer, and all stays cold, uncaring as a muttered lullaby. Thank you.
Wow. Round of applause for Chris. I love the little details that you put in your poems that bring it to life so crisply, like, you know, the skinny ties and the diamond pattern jumpers and meeting in Subway. It's so specific that it just builds a whole universe, which is beautiful. And then the second one, the maths and the what's the word again? The geometry against the dreams and the future and all of that. It's like the contrast was absolutely beautiful. How to tell the future from stars that shine so long ago. Yeah. And waking and calibrating your dreams. Yeah, gorgeous. Gorgeous. What a great array of topics and styles we have in these events. Right. We are coming up to our final open micer. Thank you for being patient, Simon, and all of you for still being here on this wonderful evening. Please help me welcome Simon Oldwick.
It's nice to see everyone. I'm going to read 2 poems. This first one is from
my new collection, Reaper in a Headlock. And it's a poem about bread and the symbolism of bread. And it's called Bread. Don't panic if I tell you I got a body in my freezer. Relax, it's the body of Christ. We don't put toast in the toaster, we put bodies. Sometimes we burn bodies and have to scrape off the black bits. We spread butter and jam over one side of our bodies. My brother makes his own bodies. He has culture in a jar. I rip off pieces of myself and feed the ducks. It gives me a sense of enormous well-being. And then I'm going to read a poem about what the age we're living in with all the destruction we're doing to the climate and how that sort of putting doubts on our future as a species, and it's kind of about well, it's called Love in the Age of Extinction, so that sort of sums up what it's about. So it seems appropriate with this recent heat wave. Hot day on her lips, record-breaking thighs. No ice left when she tells me we need a circular economy. She breaks the bones in my fingers, feeds me water filtered through a paper straw, straddles me, hushes my concerns about this aging population. She knows love's impossible, keeps sandbags stacked against the door. We can't die out like dinosaurs, she says we are God's chosen creatures. But her laugh a tipping point. She drills me until she strikes oil. We spill across the bedroom floor, smoke like chimneys after. She says the future's out on Mars. I don't think we'll make it. When she's gone, my cat brings me birds fallen from the sky. Thank you.
Wow. It was a very powerful endings, although I did want to shout Park Life at the end of the first one. But I loved bread as a body, and yeah, my brother makes his own body. He has culture in a jar. Is beautiful. And then the second one, I mean, the title alone is super powerful, but Hot Day on Her Lips was gorgeous, and she drills me until she strikes oil. Stunning. So thank you, Simon, for finishing an incredibly strong open mic and evening gorgeously. So it's just left to me to wrap up this evening. I think people have shared a lot of websites and books and links and social medias in the chat. So please, check all of those out. We have the next three Crafty Crows. I'll remind you of those. So 5th of August with Karen Downs Barton, 2nd of September with Willis the Poet, and 7th of October with Kate Jenkinson. Thank you all the readers of the second half. That's Ed, Gerald, Lucia, Susan, DK, Rob, Jason, Kate, Chris and Simon. That was your July Crafty Crows. I was Chloe. Big round of applause and thanks to Jason, who does an enormous amount of work before and during these events to allow us to come together and share these personal and powerful poems. So thank you all very much and good night.
Thank you, Chloe, for your excellent hosting too.
Thank you.